Welcome to the present. We have Jay Ferguson Talks on the channel. How you doing today?
I'm all good, bro. And yourself?
Can't complain. Welcome to the present. First time hosting you. Nice to see and hear your opinion on this channel. I guess you're not fan, right?
Yeah, of course. You don't see the main man in the back, Henri, the main man
As
right there.
I see that. I see. So you're welcome to the present, guys. Go to his channel, show him some love. Subscribe to his channel. You can see the name right there, J Ferguson TV. Subscribe on Arsenal fan. Great content. You will love his videos. Great knowledge of the game. Go there and subscribe and make sure you show some love and like his videos. Very, very important. So, how are you looking forward to Sunday?
I'm nervous about Sunday. And the reason why I'm nervous about Sunday is the form, the build up to the game, how we've been playing, how City've been playing. Everything tells you that Arsenal should go and get 3 points.
Okay.
But then you've got the problem of history. And every single time we go to the Etihad, we get battered. So
Okay.
then my PTSD kicks in, which then makes me feel like it's gonna be another one of those games. We're gonna go there with the expectation, we're gonna go there with the form, but are we actually gonna deliver? So that's why I'm apprehensive about that game, because I just don't want to get disappointed again.
Well, my opinion is different from that. Like, shout out to Aliu Abolaji, says 3-1 in favor of Arsenal. I'm very
God willing.
optimistic. I think for the first time in a long time, I think we have a better team than Man City's team. Objectively, because we look at the defense, to the midfield, to the attack, even to the goalkeeper, we look solid for the first time in a long time. Like, I've seen better days, Koscielny, Mertesacker, Kolasinac. I've seen horrible players. Now, for the first time now in a long time, I'm seeing the quality we have. I won't take Man City's defenders over our defenders. I won't take Man City's midfield. Maybe I'll take Rodri. Maybe aside from Rodri, I won't take any of their midfielders. Aside from Haaland for the goal scoring ability, I won't take him. So I'm looking at the team objectively, and I'm loving it. So I understand the PTSD in the past, we've been battered, but I'm looking at the team right now, and I'm loving it. I am loving the team.
No, I agree, right? But
Yeah.
then the key thing is, you're right. This is the first time in a long time, because I've got a video coming out tomorrow, combined 11, and for a long time we've got a lot more players that I would say will be starting in my combined 11 between the two teams. The difference comes down to is the know-how, the psychological advantage what City have over Arsenal. When you've gone back-to-back titles, treble last year, that gives you that little extra edge in these big games of the know-how. And we showed last year where we was leading for so long in the Premier League, but we didn't have the know-how to go over the line. So the question is, have we taken that heartbreak from last year, and has that conditioned us to go one step further? And for me, it starts on Sunday. You get 3 points at the defending champions. That says to the whole league, you know what? Arsenal have learned from last year, right? So I 100% agree with you. Our starting 11 at this moment is better than City's, but they've got the know-how, experience, edge on us. So I just want to know how that plays out on Sunday, and we're going to get all of our answers on the weekend.
Okay, before I respond and rebuttal that, shout out to Efosa, my guy. We are beating Man City. They have a lot of frailties, which I agree with. And Adu says, I can never change Arsenal's first team for Man City at all. Exactly. Now, let's go to, you said the know-how. Now, we beat them in the cutting race of the season in the Community Shield. Oh,
Correct.
penalties, the naysayers, it's just penalties.
A win's a win.
It's win is a win. Then they came to the Emirates. Now, it was a 50-50 game, but we won. Some people say it's a deflected goal, but we won that game.
We won 100%.
Is that not part of the know-how?
No, 100% it is. But then also when you look at it, even last year, the reason why we were so good and competitive last year was we start to get rid of those bogey teams, what we normally slipped up at. We know we
Okay,
always beat Spurs at the Emirates, but we always lose at White Hart Lane. We took care of that last year.
sure.
You know, we didn't have the best record at your places like Newcastle, Man United. We went and took care of those records last year. That's what I mean. This is the final stage. This is like the boss level to complete the
Okay,
game. You have to beat Man City in their ground. There's one thing winning at the Emirates, and there's another thing going away from home in their backyard and picking up all 3 points.
okay. Let me ask another question. So, what do you rate? Competence or experience?
I think experience, because you know there's times, and even playing myself, there's times where you know you may not be having the best game, or the game itself is not a great game, but you've just got that muscle memory, that repetition of just how to do things, even if you're not at your fluid best. And I think Man City have been showing that over the last 4 or 5 games. They haven't been sensational. We've been the
Okay,
ones tearing teams apart.
okay,
Man City almost look like every game they play, it's, woof, we go away with that one, 3 points, on to the next, on to the next. That's how they've been playing. But ultimately, they've been winning, right? We've been winning in more emphatic fashion, so we look more desirable on the eye. But Man City ain't playing their free-flowing football, but yet still they're only, what, a point behind us?
okay. Let me pause you there. So,
Mhm.
what's the proof that somebody can repeat a particular performance? Isn't it the evidence you see, or do you go by what they've done, what you think they can do? Because for me, that's why I asked the question: competence or
Mhm.
experience. For me, there are experienced idiots on earth. There are people
Mhm.
who have bags of experience, but they're not
Mhm.
competent. I always rate competence over experience. I'm not saying let's chalk experience to the bin. No, I'm not saying that. Competence for me will not be experience. Massive might have the know-how. They did it last season. They won the Premier League 3 successive years.
Mhm.
They won 3P last season. But you can see the decline before us.
No, 100%, I get that, but then, and I've been seeing a lot of Arsenal fans saying that about C, right?
Yep.
Oh, they're on a slight decline. Players getting older. They didn't replace Mahrez. They didn't replace Gundogan.
Going to go. Yeah.
All of these different things. But the reality is, if we're playing that well and they're on the decline, they're only 1 point
Yeah.
behind us. So the league table tells a different story to what the eye test says. The eye test says Man City are no longer formidable anymore. That's what the
Okay.
eye test says.
Yeah.
But the league table says they're as competitive as Arsenal and Liverpool.
So let me ask you another question. If we flip the situation, if Man City were in the Arsenal situation right now, and Arsenal were the Man City situation, we have the same opinion you have right now?
I think I think you can't sort of deter the fact that they've won 3 league titles back to back, right? So even if the
Sure.
situation's flipped, we
Yeah.
haven't won a league title in 20 years.
Sure.
So I 100% agree with you, because there's a load of people in professional capacities who have tons of experience, but someone fresh out of school might have more
No.
competence and they're better.
Sure.
But when we look in terms of the football and the track record, is look, 20 years, just won the treble. That has a say in how a game pans out.
I'm not saying it doesn't have a say, but what don't you think is overly embellished? Overly pushed. Oh, they've done it before. Yeah, yeah. Like it's like me saying, oh, last year my credit score was 800. I go to the
Mhm.
bank, my credit score is 400 this year. I'm telling the cashier, forget about what I did, my credit score right now. Look at what I had last year. You can't tell the bank that same thing. They're gonna look at you. No, no, no. Right now, Shout out to you. The credit score last year was 800, but right now it's 400. We can't do business. That's how I say. I'm not saying let's trash Man City's know-how. I think sometimes we are overly embellishing it and overly giving it credence.
No, I just think because, and I'll go back to the point I made, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of Arsenal fans feel that way as well about Man City. And my argument back is always, if we've improved so much and they're maybe not the same as what they were before, why are they only 1 point behind us?
Because the league is very competitive.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. You would like to think that, okay, the fact that we've improved so much, they're on a slight decline. Maybe their belly's full. They won everything last year. Maybe they haven't got that edge this season. But the reality is, they're still only 1 point behind us.
Even though it's 1 point, even though it's half point, it's an advantage. It's an advantage.
100%. It's 100% still advantage, and that's what I mean. That's what makes this game so crucial. Because if we go and win that game, it gives your point the exclamation mark. Forget about that previous stuff. This is the new time. This is Arsenal's time. But the problem is, if you go and lose that game,
okay,
what's going to be the narrative?
We'll find out. Before we find out that, let me read some of the chats real quick. So, Aliu says some Arsenal fans are just shallow-minded. Oxymoto, shout out to you. It comes first Emirates game. They had Rico Lewis, John Stones in the middle. No Rodri, ETIHAD should be interesting. Okay, at least I think we have the competence already. We need more experience. Man City are using the experience they gathered for years, which is fair. Let's hope Brighton do something Liverpool. Hopefully,
we need Liverpool to start dropping points as well, for sure.
Sure. If we win this game, we won 9 consecutive wins for the first time since the Invincible era. Exactly. Shout out to my guy Fosa. It's fine margins because we started converting our chances after the new year. That's the actual difference why we started showing results for our games, and I agree with you there. So, like we're saying, I understand the trauma Arsenal has given a lot of supporters. I understand it. A lot of Arsenal supporters are in trauma. They can't get what we've done out of it. But these are new players. Saliba was not part of that trauma. Gabriel Magalhaes wasn't part of that trauma. Kivio, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Martinelli.
The majority of the team, for sure.
So that was giving us the confidence. Like, I'm not just fooled by some delusion. I'm looking at the quality we have in our team at this moment, and I'm loving it. I'm not picking Man City's players. And Man City, shout out to them. They've been great, but it looks like the party is over. The new sheriff is in town.
That's what I mean. But now that's what I'm trying to say. That's what the eye test says, exactly that. Arsenal are the best team in the Premier League and probably have been for the last couple of seasons. But the problem is, last year we didn't get the silverware to prove that. This year, we need to go and do that, because I don't want us to keep on being in this place of, oh, we're the best team in the league. Great. But what did you win?
We win. Yeah. Fair point. And then we need to back up our claims with some silverware. I agree with you 100%. You can't just be waffling with no silverware.
Yeah, you need the
attached
silverware.
to it. You need a silverware. And I agree with you on that one. So let's see what's going to be. So I saw your video the other time, and you had a little concern about Jorginho. I would like you to voice your concern about Georgie. Because I had similar concern about signing from Chelsea. I'm like, that guy is slow. He's kind of lethargic. Doesn't have the legs. So people say, but he has the brain. I'm like, nah. But when I saw how he has been playing for the last few games, it's made the big teams, the brain. The footballing IQ for me is exceptional.
No, 100%, right? And what Jorginho reminds me of is when back in the day I used to play badminton with my dad, right? And he got older. I'm becoming a young teen, So now I think I've got the advantage because I've got the fitness, I've got the speed
Yeah,
around the court. But he's got the IQ, right? And he just has me running up and down. He
down.
stands in the middle of the court, dictating play, reading my next move, and he ends up winning on the basis of the IQ,
Q.
right? And that's how I see Jorginho. What was sort of point I was making in the video is Arsenal fans, whenever we have a good moment, we really clamor over a player and we almost forget what came before them, right?
Sure.
It's like now everyone's saying, oh my God, Kivio is our best left back. And everyone's completely disregarded what
Zinni.
Zinni done last year. And it's just
Sure.
the Arsenal way because we're always looking for positive moments because we
Do you
don't have
think
many.
that's just Arsenal or those are fans generally?
I think it's probably more so Arsenal because we are coming with deep history, but we have nothing in recent time. So whenever we see something positive and good, we jump to it. Right. I think if we've been successful over this period of time,
Of time.
we'll be
Okay.
a little bit more relaxed in how we view our team. But so for me, Jorginho, look, credit to him. I'm not a Jorginho fan. If we was to have got Jorginho 5-6 years ago, I would say, yeah, that's a good signing.
Okay.
I think it's worked out well for him where he's come into the team at the time when we've picked up our form. So the fact we've picked up our form, which means we're back dominating games, guess what? He's got Declan Rice to do his dirty work. He's got Ozil creating, and he almost just plays the quarterback role, right? So like Perlo doesn't leave the center circle,
Yeah.
right? And it suits him.
Sure.
So I'm still not a fan. I personally wouldn't have gave him a new deal going into next year. I think we could definitely upgrade on that position. But what's your thoughts on Jorginho? You a big fan?
Yeah, right now I'm a big fan because I look at things differently, right? We need different profiles in our midfield. And
100%.
Georgie has shown me that, okay, even though I love athleticism, and for me, Partey has athleticism and the IQ. Just that Jorginho has the superior footballing IQ than Partey, in my opinion. Some people might disagree with that. And I think he can do a job. He can do a job because different games provide different challenges and you have to provide different solutions to those games. If you look at the Liverpool game, for me, Liverpool are the road runners of the league. They like to run. They like to outpace their opponent. They run a lot. But Jorginho have had the way. For me, if Jorginho can steady the midfield where Liverpool was trying to run, it shows that even though the opponent are trying to up the tempo, we have a player who has the IQ to control the game in that chaos. Let's not forget, if you watch the last game, Liverpool against Man City, KDB couldn't live up with the pace of
For
Liverpool.
sure. You're
So,
right.
but Jorginho actually found a way to control Liverpool's ferocious running. For me, that unlocked another. I looked at the game differently. So, okay, he might not be suitable for all the games, but certain games, you need a Jorginho there to just provide that footballing IQ. I'm not saying he should play 38 games or 30 games or 15 games, but certain games, he can do a job. A 1+1 deal for me is not a bad deal because the market is not littered with players with Jorginho's IQ and athleticism. Where will you find those kind of players? The market is not littered with that. All these players are overrated and overpriced. So since we can't find too many players that can do that, I'll keep him. I'm not saying we shouldn't get another midfielder. I'll keep him. I'll keep him for the experience.
My thing is this with Jorginho, and you're totally right because the transfer market's crazy. There's no value for anyone.
Some money.
My
Exactly.
thing is this though. If Jorginho is third choice next year, then it makes sense. Because Arsenal fans always go, oh, they'll make a good squad player. They're just a backup. But guess what? When you get injuries, the backup has to play. So I don't want to see Jorginho having a 12-15 game run in the Arsenal side.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's my only thing. If there's two players coming in, right? If there is that sort of left-sided center mid player and an actual deep line midfielder we bring in, We bring in 2 midfielders of different profiles, and you have a Jorginho. That makes sense. That
Okay,
100% makes.
before I respond to that, let me read some of the chat real quick. Go with the flow. Shout out to the Man City fans. So you think you can come to the ETIHAD, which I call the MTR, and get 3 points? Obviously, I see the game ending in a draw just because Arsenal are better as a team or defensively. No, now you're admitting. Now you're admitting go with the flow. We're not. I've told you we are not collecting just 1 point. We are collecting all points, whether you like it or not. Shout out to Mr. Lefosa. I'd go with the flow. You let it go. We are beating Man City, obviously. Harbo says 8 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. It's down. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm delusional. I just think we can win all 10 games. I think we have the squad. Maybe I'm delusional, but I just think we can win all 10 games. So let me go back to the Jorginho talk. For me, now, before I answer the question, do you think, I understand there are a lot of transfer links, right? Do you think logically Arsenal are going to have the financial muscle to bring in 2 midfielders, 2 top quality midfielders this coming summer transfer window?
Yeah, 100%. And the reason why I say that is Edu needs to do his job. Okay, the manager doesn't trust Eddie Nketiah, right? That's England international. Your likes of Palace, Brentford, these type of level of teams, that should be 20 million for Eddie Nketiah. Emil Smith-Rowe is the England international. The manager clearly doesn't trust him. He played him for 1 game, back on the bench the following game. No chance, right? The likes of West Ham will be a great move for Emil Smith-Rowe. Newcastle, that should be 30 million. So already we're up to 50 million just on 2 players. Ramsdale's not going to stay. Do I trust Edu to get the right valuation for Ramsdale? No, I don't, because he's terrible at selling players. We're terrible at selling players.
Wait. Let's calm down. What do you mean we're terrible? Sometimes I think we have been hard. Like the market sometimes dictate. See, if I want to sell this mic for $20 and nobody's willing to offer $20, am I terrible? Or is the market that dictates the price sometimes?
The reason why I say that, right? Prime example. Wolves wanted Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right?
Okay.
They wanted him. I think it was reported 25, 27 million. They wanted Maitland-Niles, okay? Arsenal rejected the approach, decided to keep him. Okay? We end up doing what with it? Loaning him out to Roma. Roma sent him back. We don't want him.
Wait, is that a fair assessment? At that time, let's be fair. Let's not rewrite history. At that time, Miles was doing great. No Arsenal fan wanted him sold. Let's be fair.
No,
we didn't want him sold.
But that's what I mean. That's when you take the step up as an elite club, right?
Okay.
Because I tell you this, look at it this way. If we had Riyad Mahrez at Arsenal, and let's say last season, Arteta says, yep, he's okay, we'll sell him. Arsenal fans would have been like, what are we doing? Who are we going to replace him with? Right? Pep Guardiola regularly does that. He refreshes his team. Is it always the right decision? But he's always trying to go to the next level. Arsenal wouldn't have sold Mahrez. Arsenal wouldn't have sold Gundogan. Those 2 players will still probably get into our starting 11.
But let's be fair, right? The context is that Arsenal ain't winning. That Man City is winning. So selling for a winning team is different from selling from a team that is not winning. So there is context to those conversations.
No, but people wanted those players. We decided to say no.
But at that time, that player seemed useful. At that time, it was playing right back and it was doing well at that time.
That's what I mean. But that's what I mean. It's about the foresight of things, right? We've got to understand that there's players who are good for now, and let's not all of a sudden think these players are elite. Now I've seen certain content creators telling me that Kiwior is one of the best left backs in the Premier League. No, he's not.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's objective, but he's doing a good job. I won't say best, but he's doing a
no,
good job.
but that's what I mean. But now that's the narrative. Oh, he's a solid. No, he's not. Right. But the thing is,
But
I always
is he doing a bad job?
he's not doing a bad job. But let's just not lose perspective.
I get what you mean. Yeah,
That's
people
all I'm
overly
saying.
sometimes not
And
valuable.
I just
Yeah.
think sometimes we get caught up too much on. Like a lot of people, oh, we don't want to sell Emil Smith Rowe. He's from Hell End. He's in the academy. He came through with Saka. We can't sell him. Why not? If the manager doesn't trust him, doesn't play him, and you've got the likes of Newcastle and West Ham who want to drop 30 million on him, why wouldn't you not sell him?
So do you think the manager don't trust him, or is not match fit and match ready enough to play?
He doesn't trust him because when Havertz first came, the amount of shockers he put in, but game after game, the manager's trying to play him into form.
So you think Havertz was shocking?
When he first came, he was poor.
I don't think he wasn't poor. A lot of people don't understand Havertz's game. He wasn't poor. But because I remember I made a video that time, a lot of people were calling him delusional. I said, if you understand Havertz, how he plays, he's not your typical 8. He's a second striker stroke midfielder. So his playing pattern is not the conventional way of saying football. And if you don't understand him, you struggle to understand him and you hate him. But once you understand him and his teammates understand him, you can see what he's doing.
No, because that same theory applies to the likes of Berbatov, Ozil. They're in that sort of cut of players where they're not dynamic, they're not going to be sprinting. They kind of look like they're going through the game in second gear. So I fully understand that element of it, right? But
Okay.
I don't expect a 65 million signing coming in playing like academy players first game, just trying to keep everything safe, not looking for the
But
ball.
he's still adjusting to his new teammates. Once you give him a bit of time, is your player. You have to give him a bit of time to settle in. It's like resuming a new job today. You're not going to just be into the environment
No,
easy.
100%.
Sometimes it's a bit of settling in.
Because what I'm trying to say to you is, to that point, what did the manager keep on doing? Playing him.
Because like you said, you just told me a while ago, the manager doesn't trust Smith Rowe. Now the manager trusts the player. Why like he's keep on playing? Because he trusts him.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. If a guy's been out injured, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't got no football, and you've also got another player in a similar position that you just bought, and you're trying to get him up to speed with your style, with your fluidity of how you want to play the game, right?
Sure.
I just feel like if you've got a player in Emil Smith Rowe who helped kept Arteta's job in his first season when he banged 11 goals in that Premier League, he had a lot of clutch moments in that couple seasons ago, right? I just feel like give the guy 20 minutes. There's games we're winning 4-5-0 half time. I'm looking at that and I'm saying Havertz is not tearing it up. Trossard's not tearing it up. And you've got this guy who you gave a new contract to. You're winning 3-4-0. Can't he not get 20 minutes to state a claim? That's all I'm saying in terms of Emil Smith Rowe. So that's why I say the manager clearly doesn't trust him, right?
But we started scoring those goals in the second half of the season in 2024. We're not scoring those kind of goals.
No, 100%. He's obviously he's been injured, right? So he's like the new signing, because if you haven't played no football for a whole season, how am I going to get back up to speed? By playing games, right?
Sure.
So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, if my team's winning 4-5-0, this looks like a training game exercise now.
But he has had some games when we're up by 4-5
minutes, 12 minutes.
Yeah, but because sometimes you don't want to kill the rhythm of the game. Even I remember when he gave 45 minutes to Fabio Vieira, who has been injured. Sometimes he's trying to get the rhythm and the balance right. Like I try to see the perspective of the manager sometimes, and sometimes I think we are overly critical on what they're trying to do. We are not managers, even though we've seen the game, we understand the game. We have to be a little bit more fair and balanced.
No, but then we also got to call it how we see it, right? is
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
we've got to call it how we see it, right? So it's like, okay, if you got other players in my position who are not
Yeah.
tearing the game up, the game's won.
Now,
I'm expecting to
tearing
get
it
some
up
game time.
is subjective. Now you think Harvard is not tearing it up. I think he's doing a fantastic job. That's subjective. So we might not actually necessarily agree on that point because I think Harvard has been fantastic, and he has been without Harvard, we are not in the title race. Jesus has been in and out with injury. Without Harvard, we are not in a title race. Whether we like it or not, the stats are there, the evidence is there. Without Kai Havertz, can play in the midfield and can play as a striker and has availability, which is a key component for any quality player. We're not in a title race. Do you agree with that? Or you think I'm waffling?
No, I never say anyone's waffling because you're gonna have a perspective of the game. I'm gonna have a perspective of the game, and that's what makes it so beautiful. And this is why we can make content. Do I agree? No, but I'm not. I'm never gonna say you're waffling. That's your truth. That's what you believe.
So you think if Kai Havertz was not in this team, we'll be in a title race?
I still think we will be in a title race.
With indicate here.
I personally wouldn't have played Eddie Nketiah. I would have gone straight to Trossard false 9.
We've seen Trossard not do exceptionally well the way Kai Havertz does that at the first 9 level. That is evidence. Is before we can say it. We can say. You don't like Kai Havertz.
I'll be honest with you. There's the likes of Kai Havertz, Kivio, Eddie Nketiah, Fabio Vieira. These type of guys, I don't think they're at the level of what we need.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Let's read on the chat. Right after we speak with Chet until it's time to fail Arsenal, they keep saying they to kill us. Now they saying Arsenal can draw at the ETIHAD. See, I understand that they've been tuning it down. Arsenal is going to the ETIHAD to empty it. Yeah, I'm not changing my tone. Go with the flow. Last game we lost was Villa, December 6th. We've played 22 games after winning 19 and drawn 3. Go with the flow. Fast. Kai Havertz is one of the players keeping you in a title race, and the only player I'm scared of come Sunday. You can see even a rival, they understand the importance of Kai Havertz. Efosa wants the link. He's an Arsenal fan. He wants to join us. Okay. Do you mind him joining us?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. Let me send him the link real quick. Efosa, I'm going to send you the link right now. So you don't actually rate Kai Havertz?
I don't rate Kai Havertz. Look, you know what? It goes like this, right? You could be efficient and get your goals.
Okay.
Do I necessarily rate you? No. Right?
Okay.
A Lambo is better than a Ford Focus. Everyone would want to drive the Lambo, but the Focus is going to get you to work the exact same way.
Okay.
And that's how I see Kai Havertz. He's hot. He's our Ford Focus. He's there. There's no glitz. There's no glamour. But he's going to get you to where you need to be, ultimately.
I think he got elite. I like his touches, his movements, his elite. I'm not saying player that because there's something in football I believe you can't teach, even in life. There's something I always believe that people over embellish. I'm not saying don't go to school, get educated. I think the best researchers, the best surgeons, the best investigators have some things that you don't teach, some innate ability that makes them special. Right? Like people say, oh, you can teach movement in football. Good luck. No, you can't teach it. The elite movers, like Inzaghi, where he knew where to be, sometimes you can't teach that. Either you have it or you don't have it. Now you can have the average movement of a player, but there's some elite movement that either you have it or you don't have it. Efosa is joining us. Shout out to you.
Good evening, everyone. Or good morning. Hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah.
What's going on, bro?
Yeah. Hey, Mr. J. Good evening from here. Good morning from where I am.
Morning.
He's an Arsenal fan. He's been here. We did a live together the other time. He doesn't like. Sorry, he doesn't rate. I don't like is a strong word. He doesn't rate Kai Havertz, which I'm surprised. Jay doesn't rate Kai Havertz.
I rate Kai Havertz highly, very, very highly, very highly. And I think even the managers who have played with him rate him highly. I think we forget one thing is I don't use Chelsea as a metric to gauge players because let's be realistic. Chelsea, they only care about instant gratification with a player. If a player turns out well, it's okay. If it doesn't turn out well, nobody really cares. We saw Kai Havertz before he went to Chelsea. We knew he was one of those diminutive talents. Now,
Yeah.
looking at him, from because let's be honest, it's just as if he kept on, he was rather diminishing at Chelsea than building anything. Now, I know when people talk about players, one thing, we all love a player who has this flair about him. Let's say you dribble, you take players on, do all these things. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I don't, but with Kai, I learned that okay, it will take time to come, and it's not something he's doing all the time anymore. Because we used to see him at Bayern Leverkusen, he was tearing it up. But one particular time, you still look at Chelsea, we don't know how it was because I don't see how you sign a player like that has an elite technical ability and give him to Frank Lampard. I'm sorry, I will not take you serious. I don't look at Lampard as a top class manager. I don't look
Yeah.
at, well, I was looking at Potter then, but I just don't, I don't know how look at it. So for me, Kai is that guy that if I'm looking for brilliance, a moment of brilliance, I would trust Kai ahead of Martinelli and Saka. Maybe only Odegaard is the only person I would put there because he has that brilliance. Even I don't believe Declan Rice has like people talk about Declan
Mm,
Rice. Yeah, I look
yeah, I
at Declan Rice.
understand.
You
So, so,
see,
so that's fine pause. Now, I'm going to ask Mr. J. Do you rate Declan Rice?
I rate Declan Rice.
Okay, what do you rate about him?
I think and to your point, 100%. When you've had the pedigree of career, what Kai Havertz has done in terms of playing well in Germany, getting that move to Chelsea, successful or not, he scored a Champions League winning goal for them. So he's coming with a level of pedigree, right? So that's why my bar and expectations are a little bit higher for him. In terms of Declan Rice, you got to think he's been relegation battling at West Ham, 4 banks of 4, parking the bus, doing all of the dirty work, game after game. The fact that he has come into this Arsenal team and immediately hit the ground running, he's even now added the deliveries to his game, right? The only thing why I say with Declan Rice is he just needs to be a lot more quick and progressive with his passing. He's reading of play, his game management, his in-game management is phenomenal. His appetite for the battle, phenomenal. The last piece was missing for Declan Rice is being able to take the ball on a half turn and split defenses. That's it. So
So
I
do
rate
you
him.
think do you think? Oh, sorry for cutting. I didn't know if you're
No,
not
no, go
finished.
for it.
Do you think he's going to get to that level? I
I
I
think
just think personally, if you don't have certain things, I think it's for me. I understand. I rate Declan Rice, but not as much. I love you rating. Defensively, he smells the danger. He can strike in a tackle,
mhm,
but that offensive play, pushing us forward, driving the way Partey drives us forward, drops a shimmy,
yeah.
can dribble
I
two or
think
two players and
I
move back.
think you could
He
get
doesn't
there.
have it.
I think you could get there, right? Because
How is he gonna get there?
because the saying always goes, you're a product of your environment, right? So if you're playing in a team like West Ham, where season
Mhm.
after season your expectation is don't get beaten, stick 10 men behind the ball and we're going long. He hasn't been coached or trained for that level. You've seen already, we're 10 games left of the season. He's now getting assists. He's now getting goals. The fact that Jorginho has been playing the last 5, 6, 7 games, he's been more an attacking threat, making it inside of the box. that comes because he's environment. He's now being coached and he's now being shown and given the confidence to say, you could do this. Remember, this is this guy's first season. So
well, I could flip it and say, I don't count corners as assists, but a lot of people count corners. Those half of these assists are corners. Secondly,
hey, listen, you have to
not,
count it because you're not seeing Saka's delivery is terrible into the box.
but corners are lottery, man. You can
No. You can't downplay corners, man.
I'm not downplaying it. Across
No
board,
way.
I don't rate corners.
No way. You see how you're talking about Kai Havertz?
Okay.
If we didn't have him,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be in the title race. Listen, if we didn't have our set plays this season, we also wouldn't be in the title race. So
He's not scoring his set plays. He's just delivering them, which is most of the time lotteries.
No. You can't discredit the service into the service.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand what he's saying. You know, I think you guys are saying the same thing. It's just that Solly wouldn't take a corner as an assist, but he doesn't care about the delivery. You know, and as you said, I believe the corners have helped us, because the reason why I believe the corners have helped us is because if we check, a lot of teams have gone through this phase of, you know, parking the bus, two banks of 4 low.
Yeah.
So once we score a set piece, the game is open.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I love the set pieces. I love how we've worked on the set pieces. And these days, I think a lot, because we have the set pieces, teams are maybe a little scared now, because they know that, okay, if you park the bus, they'll still score a set piece. So we can catch them off guard. And I think that's one thing we have. But if I would say Dec, one thing with Declan Rice is, I remember you were saying something about if Man City were declining, why are we, you know, not far off? I think the first thing that I would say is, first of all, we have to look at some players that weren't available. Before, you know, Kai started playing up top and all that, we have to look and say, one of the people we have missed this season has actually been Jesus. Because and Partey. Because the reason is this is why we can say Man City were still close to us is because they didn't have, okay, apart from KDB,
the main man.
But they didn't have any other, you know, significant, you know, absentees. Yeah, we've had to cope without Martinelli, we've had to cope without Saka, and even go with the flow. Zinchenko. I think Oxymato was saying we played Man City with Man City didn't play us with Rodri. But they forget that we didn't play Man City with Saka, and Martinelli came in 45 after half time. So we've played without Martinelli, we've played without Fabio Vieira, we've played without Jesus, who I feel, Partey. The only people that have been there is just our defense and Dec. And let's be realistic. Declan Rice has his limits. He has limitations. Declan Rice is not the DM that you expect. The way Jorginho gives, you know, eye of the needle passes, or Partey controls the game, can, you know, delete players. As you said, Dec has to work on his half turns. But in situations that have been hard for us, we've seen that Declan Rice sometimes might end up being more of a liability than
sometimes, an asset.
Because if I'm looking at us, one reason is we've had little injuries that have come against us. And let's be realistic. One thing that I think has worked, we had a problem with, was maybe to an extent we were predictable. You understand? Because during the half of the before the new year, yes, Man City were able to win games. I think the league was one way, which is even when we're winning games, look at the games some of the games we've lost. Look at the game we lost against Newcastle. That shouldn't have been a loss. The game we lost against Aston Villa, I don't know how we didn't take those amount of chances that we had in that particular game. Odegaard missed a sitter. Look at the game against West Ham. I'm still confident if Kai Havertz was in that game, we wouldn't lose. Then, unfortunately, Fulham was the only loss that we really...
we're poor. Fulham were poor.
And we can look at all these things. So, and we also forget that the way the league was last season is not the same way. We can look at teams improving. Now we can say Brighton and Newcastle, yes, they're falling off. Aston Villa, even Tottenham, that yeah, they are there, but they still improved. So all these improvements in the league at one particular point will, make things difficult for us. And I think Arteta tweaked some of his tactics, which happens, which I think is one of the reasons we are where we are. So if we say Man City are on the decline, what proves that Man City are on the decline is that Man City can't win 8 straight games. Because we have won 8 straight games. If we were that team that we were last season or 2 seasons ago, we wouldn't win 8 straight games. And I'm confident the reason is the players that Arteta was trying to avoid since the season we didn't qualify for the Champions League when Conte beat us to the Champions League. Players like Holding, El Neni, Cedric, and all those guys. Before those guys will have the chance to play, we have up to 8 or 9 more players before them. So, and I don't think we will have a freakish injury record of 9 players at once. So I think that's one of the reasons why we are much better this season. So
now let me ask Jay. Shout out to that good point. Let me ask you, do you rate Arteta? Oh, you think you can do better than him?
No way. At this moment in time, there's no ready-made replacement to bring in for Arteta, right? I think we're going through his apprenticeship with him as fans, because ultimately this is his first job. The guy has gone from ex-footballer to a number 2 to being the manager of one of England's biggest clubs in history. That is such a quick transition from former player to picking up cones for Pep Guardiola.
Why do you say that way?
Yeah, that's what you think
you
about that.
You give the rivals ammunition to troll us. I can call your manager.
when you think about his rise is sensational.
Yeah.
To be, and you got to think he wasn't no superstar player, and where he's getting a job of reputation like Gerrard and Lampard. They got jobs of reputation.
Definitely, of course, yeah.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
I knew he's gonna milk it. You are so predictable. Go with the flow. I knew he's gonna make yours. He picked up cones facts.
So the answer to your question is the fact that he didn't have that sort of streamline into management like Gerrard and Lampard, and he's gone in right at the highest level possible, and within 4 to so seasons, and the last 2, he's got us competitive. He's got people like me believing again. Because I tell you, for the last part of a decade or so,
you said it loud. So initially, you didn't believe in him.
No, I couldn't believe in him. When you think
the same thing, I didn't believe.
So I was the only one that believed in him. I believed in him
because the thing is, like you said, there's metrics, there's facts, there's what you see.
Sure,
so that's what I'm saying. So if the guy's gone from ex-player to a number 2 to coming straight in when we're an absolute mess, right? Yeah. There's no proof there will give me confidence to say, yeah, this guy's the one. At least when, say, Liverpool got Klopp, he's been in Bundesliga. He's been in the Champions League. So you're looking at him and going, he could be the one. For us, we've just got someone's number 2. And we've just gone through 15 plus years of absolute mediocrity. So when you're telling me, oh, we're bringing in this number 2, I'm thinking, damn, doesn't look good. So
fair point.
Credit to him. He's got people like myself believing, and all we want as fans is the hope. We take the hope. For the last decade or so, we ain't even had hope. We know it's a top 4 battle. If we're lucky, we're going to get to Wembley for the FA Cup. When we normally get to Wembley, we win. That's what we was hoping on. At least now, we could go in confidence saying, we could beat C. We could beat Liverpool. I think we're going to win the league. It feels good to be able to say that again.
Sure.
Because I'm talking, I had a season ticket in the unbeaten season. So my memory of Arsenal is winners. So the fact that we've gone 10, 15 years of not even being in the conversation, it's been painful. So I'm at least glad we're now in a place where we're in the conversation. We look at the league table right now, it's how it should be. We're at the top. I like that.
Yeah.
And that's down to Arteta. So he's got me believing. I've only been believing since last season, probably about 10, 15 games in. Before that, I was like, I don't know, but he's got me believing since last year.
Yeah, for me, I believed in him because there were rave reviews before he was employed. And secondly, the fact that we wanted to get him before we get Unai Emery, right? And somehow we didn't come. Emery came and we went back to him. That means he laid down the gauntlet to these guys that if I'm going to come, it's my way or the highway. And he stuck to that. And the fact that he was dealing with high quality players as a comb picker gave me some assurance he knows how to deal with players with ego from Man City.
True.
So that's why it's like, okay, I'll give him a chance because Unai Emery, come on, man. That guy is a serial.
Yeah, I never did it to that
No.
guy.
But you see with Emery, right?
Yeah.
I generally think if the board had backed him, we would have seen a lot more from Emery.
No,
they didn't. I don't think. I think the Arsenal board kind of looked and said, "Hey, we want that guy who could potentially be the next Pep Guardiola. He's working with him. We can't get him right now. We'll go and get Emery as a sort of filler gap." That's why they didn't want to give him no money for the players. People turn and say, "Oh yeah, but he got Pepe." No, he got Pepe because they was able to put him on a Kalana deal.
Yeah,
that was the only reason why he got Pepe. He wanted Wilfried Zaha.
My only rebuttal to that is that, right? How come, I always tell people, how come if Emery is a top manager, the biggest clubs in Spain, where he came from, Barcelona and Real Madrid, never ever employed him?
Of course,
he's a cup merchant. He's a cup merchant at best. He's going to bottle the top four for Aston Villa. Now, if you want to win a few cups, Emery will get you a few cups. But in the league, oh my goodness, his ass. That's my personal opinion on him.
I followed Emery, right? And now, when I followed Emery, I think his first season he won he won 3 Europa Leagues back to back. I remember the first season they played. The first one they won was Benfica. There's this myth that one of Benfica's former managers placed a curse on them that they'd never win a European trophy. I will never forget that day. Emery got to the final and Emery was pummeled. That's the only final I've seen that it may have ended 8-0 if those chances were going in. So they ended up playing penalties. So he won. The second one was against, because then I was in Ukraine and I think I've forgotten that team, but there was this guy, Konoplyanka, that was playing for the team that got to the final. Was it Karpaty Lviv? So he got to that final. And surprisingly, I expected, because Sevilla were actually favorites, so it's rightly so. But they didn't play, they weren't spectacular when they went to that particular game. So he won, which was, I understood, because they had better quality. Then they played Liverpool. Do you remember when they played Liverpool in that final? Liverpool should have scored so many goals. Liverpool didn't score in the first half. Then in the second half, they capitulated. Now, that could be down to the tactics of Emery. I'm not going to say he didn't do anything, so I can't discredit him. But the thing I don't like is when managers who go from small teams go to big teams and still do small team things.
Mentality, they still do the same thing. Yeah.
What the game that made me say this guy is not a top manager, he's just a small team manager, was when he went to PSG. They played Real Madrid at the the round of 16. Now they lost 3-1 at home. Now, I know that if you have a top team, right, and another team is coming to your home ground, you're going to give them a game. Everybody will be hyped up for the game, will be like, we are ready. You could see, okay, fine. You remember when AC Milan beat us 4-0 at their home ground, and we came back when we came to the Emirates Stadium, and when the AC Milan came, they were blown away. Now, unfortunately, we didn't score the fourth goal, but they were blown away. Now, the problem I had was Emery didn't do anything to show, okay, fine, I'm fearless. Let me go for this game. Rather, Emery was playing that game in a very conservative way. Then it got to the 70th minute. He played in the midfield. He played a midfield of Verratti. He played a midfield of Thiago Motta. And I think maybe it was Rabiot. This guy took out Thiago Motta and brought in Lassana Diarra. That change alone made me say no. He's not a top manager because you're a small team manager. He's going there.
Yeah.
So that was one Arsenal when we had those moments when everybody was. You could still see this guy is susceptible because you can't be creating. We won games, but we are not going to say okay, fine. Imagine we are conceding 31 chances in a game.
Yeah, that was in a game.
Yeah, we didn't know the tactics he was going with. We just felt okay. This guy was just was just
it's vibes. It's vibes. It goes with vibes. Emery's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Because what I felt was he was just taking the remainders of Arsene Wenger's football that first season. After that football cleared and he started, taking players out and bringing his own players in on a full scale, we started seeing that this guy isn't that good or has an idea. So, and you could understand the frustrations of the fans at the time. Like we were supposed to qualify for the Champions League. We needed just 4 points or 3, and he didn't make it. Then the next season, you're telling Ozil to play the CDM and Torreira should press up top. Everybody thought this guy didn't know what he was doing anymore.
Obviously.
And I never trusted the guy. I'm being realistic. Now, as Jay said, if they gave him players, but I always felt if they gave him players, as you said, maybe we'll win Europa Leagues. Maybe that's the only thing you might really get. But in the Champions League, if I'm looking at us in the Champions League now, I'm not scared of Bayern Munich. Even Real Madrid, I'm not. Because I'm confident if we play the way we play and we have a very good defense is solid, we should be able to beat these guys.
So let's go to the next topic real quick. So I don't hold on to Mr. J for too long. So, Mr. J, who are you starting against Man City? Jorginho or Partey?
I'll start with Jorginho just because Partey is not up to speed yet. I wanted to see Partey play in our last couple of league games, get a little bit more time, but he didn't. He didn't travel with Ghana either, so there's no game time there. I think he played that behind the closed door game. I think it was against, was it Watford or QPR, one of those teams?
I can keep you out.
Yeah. So as it stands now, I think it's just rinse and repeat. Same team what played last time is the same team what goes out. There's no one who warrants to come into that team from the last game for me.
Mr. Ifosa, what do you think? Same thing too, or you have a slight difference?
Well, I spoke about Partey today. I would have loved for it to be Partey and Rice because Partey and Rice, in my opinion, as Mr. J said, and even as you pointed out earlier, the fitness isn't there. We don't know how he will be. So if he goes, we don't know how fit he will be because I would have loved, I feel if we had Rice and Partey, the extra legs and Partey's composure and everything, plus Rice's ability to move up and down, that would be a staple because I believe Rodri would suffer that day. But it's unfortunate. I'm being realistic.
So where do you guys think we will win the game? Do you think it's the midfield, the defense, or the attack that will win this game first? Because I think I'll win the game. And if you don't think we'll win the game, let me know. So let's start with Mr. J. Do you think we'll win the game? And if we're going to win the game, where do you think our dominance will come from? The midfield, the attack, or the defense?
I think we can 100% win the game. I think when you're playing at this level and against City away from home, I think ultimately it's going to come down to your finishing, right? These games, they don't tend to be, you have 15 shots, we have 15 shots, and we'll see who comes out in top. It tends to be, 55, 45% possession. It swings from side to side. There's a couple of chances each half, a couple of goal line clearances. So I think it really comes down to the finishing aspect. I think I don't look at Man City's midfield at this moment in time and think, yeah, they're going to run through us. And I credit that to the fact that Jorginho's find the level of form, which then allows Rice to push forward, which then means Rice could help Odegaard press Rodri. So he can't be taking the ball off the centre backs as easy because the likes of Odegaard and Rice are going to be there. So I'm not worried about our midfield like I'm usually are when we play against Man City. I just want us to be able to take our chances because we might only get one in the game. And do we have the players to finish? But funny enough, I think our goal is going to come from a set piece.
Oh, that's not bad. Goals are goals.
But you're telling me delivery doesn't matter. You're telling me the delivery. You're telling me.
No, you're taking out the context. Jay is taking out the context. It doesn't matter.
These are the type of games, where I'm so glad that we've now become a threat from set place, right?
Sure.
Because you had mentioned it earlier. A lot of times, the first 10, 15 minutes is tight because they don't want to open up against Arsenal because they know we will tear them apart. Sure. But as we get that goal, then you see everyone's shoulders go, we could play our football now. We've got the goal. Wow. And I think that's going to be crucial on a weekend. I think if we could get that set piece goal, I think we could win. But yes, I think for me, the main thing is we have to take the chance when they present themselves. We can't be squandering chances against City.
Okay. The only detractor we have in the chat, go with the flow, focusing on Rodri and Bernardo doing the damage. You keep hoping. I like your whole strategy. You've not said anything empirical that to show that Man City can do anything. You keep hoping, and I pray for you, my friend. I pray for you. Go with the flow. Don't worry. We are doing the preview on Friday. You'll be on this channel to do the preview. If Mr. J is available, I'll bring him on we'll do the preview. You'll be here to represent Man City. I'll have the chat. It should be very interesting.
That's what I mean. From time you say Bernardo Silva and Rodri, that's why I'm okay about our midfield this year. Sure. Because I don't look at those two, and Rodri is not press resistant. He's not. The fact that Odegaard has found his form, he's got that extra 10, 20% extra bit of speed. He's leading our press now.
Sure.
Because before it used to be Gabriel Jesus, which now means we don't have a goal threat. But now Kai Havertz is playing, right? If you notice, soon as goalkeeper picks up the ball, Kai Havertz just opens up his body to cut the pass off to the left back or the right back. Odegaard presses the center, followed by Declan Rice. Jorginho pushes up to halfway line. We get the ball back. So I'm looking at Bernardo Silva and Rodri and thinking, do they have the legs for
Liverpool?
I'm very glad, someone else, a neutral party, is saying this. So go with the flow and say we are saying this. You understand? We're not the ones who say. And to add another point, I think yes, Man City may not want to, but this is my own view, right? Do you think this is the kind of game Man City might want to be conservative? Because I do not believe Man City will be conservative. You understand me?
I'll say something to you right there. I think it's very imperative we don't concede first.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you concede first, we can't come back and win. It will be extra difficult because if Man City score first, they will make the game drab. They'll be lethargic with the passing. They will slow it down so much. It will frustrate him.
Yeah.
And something about Man City midfield, right? They do not have the legs. Liverpool has exposed them. They don't have the legs.
Yeah.
If you notice the second half against Liverpool, they were aggressive, they were pressing. Now, compare that to the 2 games to play against Liverpool this year. Liverpool were running at us. We were running back at them. They were like, oh, let's calm me down. This guy can compete pace for pace, power for
Yeah,
power, strength for strength with us. But if you press aggressively against Man City, you don't like it.
of
Especially
course.
Rodri. If you look, watch the Chelsea game too, that was Chelsea. They targeted Rodri, say we're going to press you aggressively, we're not letting you
Yeah,
get out, and that's it.
I did.
because
Sorry, just popped into my head. The one change I
Okay.
would play is Tomiyasu at left back.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I
is he
did
fit
think
enough? Is he match fit enough?
I think he's. I think he's. I think his level of fitness versus the play he's going to come in to replace.
Yeah.
I'm willing to play him from the start. Whereas Jorginho's found that level of form, he's in a good groove. I don't
Okay.
see the point in disrupting him by putting in a Thomas Partey into that. But I think you get more reward for the risk of playing Tomiyasu
Yeah.
instead of Kivio. Because to the point where you mentioned, are they going to be reserved? I don't think they're going to go for a heavy press. I just think they're going to look to isolate our left and right back. And
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do the normal Man City thing of passing through the lines of midfield,
Nice.
especially now because we've got Rice in there. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a case of let's work that left back, let's work the right back.
Like back.
And
Yeah.
I don't trust Kivio when people are running at him, right?
Nothing.
Because then he looks like a centre back playing left back.
I know
But
I've
yeah,
said for a long time.
yeah,
When you run
yeah,
as
yeah. Well, this is my thing, right? The reason
yeah.
why I'm still confident because I still play Kivio because we saw if like look at the Porto game, right? I do believe Porto have more tricky. They had a more tricky, you know,
Winger.
was it right winger than Manchester City do. Now we could say Bernardo Silva is, a tricky guy, but I'm not looking at him as okay pacey. I'm still looking at him as okay his ability to nutmeg, his ability like he's dribbling, regardless even what we've seen, it's
It's very
pristine.
it's corny. It's corny.
Yeah, so he's a cunning player. But I just
Yeah.
feel maybe because Arteta isn't using Kivio to play, the inverted role anymore. You understand? So
Yeah.
because it's not the inverted role and he's playing as a pure left back, because I'm not expecting Kivio to make like because of the way Man City would approach the game that we are going to be because it's going to be three centre backs realistically. It's going to be three centre backs. Um, Gabriel and Saliba when Ben White tries to tuck in and we start to play. So that's why I said I will still keep Kivio, but because in case Tomiyasu isn't fully fit, just in case, because the flow that Kivio has given us, because Kivio played the game against Liverpool, and yes, I think at the beginning, within the first 10 minutes, yes, you could see how he approached it, but after that time, he was really cool. We saw him against Burnley, against West Ham. Imagine Kudus, because I believe he and Kai shot Kudus up. He had no chance. And we could look at the game because both games against Porto, he never looked out of sorts. So maybe maybe because of the form he has been on, that's the only reason. But if Tomiyasu is fit enough, I'd say that
Yeah.
would be preference. But maybe
Yeah.
maybe I think why Jay is saying he could play, he played the behind the closed doors game, but he has
70
not
minutes.
played. Yeah, he played 70 minutes, but he hasn't played, let's say, like the normal EPL matches for us to say we have a gauge on him to see how far he can go. But my problem is I do believe Man City will still leave chances for us in behind because I
Yeah, they leave the
don't.
door. They leave the door
Yeah,
ajar.
I
They will leave the
can't.
door ajar.
Yeah, I can't fathom how we won't have chances because I'm not. Yes, I believe, as Jay said, the finishing is important. But I'm looking at us. I'm looking at Man City. I don't think even if Man City want to make the game drab, right? They don't have the personnel to keep us out. Because look at the game
They-
against Liverpool. When the game began, yes, they were when they scored, they were trying to be drab, but they don't have the legs and personnel. We saw the game against Bournemouth. Now we could all say these games were away, but we could still look
Yeah.
at Brentford at home. So even if we decide now, because I believe Pep would approach the game with some, idea that they want to lay down the law and the gauntlet that they're at home, and they know
Yeah.
that them being defensive favors Arsenal more, because if they are being defensive, let's be realistic. Arteta is not rushing anywhere. Arteta knows he needs just one chance to score. And as Jay said, if we score a set piece, that game is done. They're not coming back. We know they've lost that game, because with every moment Man City decide to come to play and come and camp us in, we remember we have Raya, right? Martinelli is going to start that game. So Martinelli is going to be ready for the counter. We are forgetting, well, the person that gives us a different edge, in my opinion, is Kai Havertz, because Kai is a different profile. Kai is going to isolate both center backs. His ability to play in the space is going to take it's, for me, I believe that's what's going to pick Man City apart, because you can't mark Kai Havertz. That's the first, for me, that's my best hope, that he can't be marked. And imagine he's leaving spaces. People like Saka and Martinelli will take advantage. Would take advantage of those spaces. So for me, I just believe, even if Man City decide now that, because I know they will come out a little bit, they can't, like Pep will not be able to play that game without coming out. I just don't see it not happening. I just don't see it happening. So I do believe Pep will come out.
So we'll find out. So go with the flow is TSC yapping, repping Man City. Like Pep said before international break, we have a final who will be there. Keep yapping. Keep yapping. You guys are forgetting both Arsenal and City away record are poor against the big team in the EPL. What do you mean by poor? Because all the big teams that have come to the Emirates, we've beaten them aside from Spurs. So I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, we are going to the ETIHAD.
Yeah, he said
we'll find out on Sunday
against all these teams are.
Yeah, like we've not played Man U away. Yeah, only Liverpool one draw. So that's what I'm saying. He's taken out of context to push his agenda. He's pushing an agenda because we have to still play Man U away. We have to still play Spurs away. We have to play all the big teams he's mentioning. You have to play them away. So you're not making sense. Go with the flow with all due respect to you. You're not making sense. Chelsea. It's a draw. We didn't lose. Two draws. We didn't lose.
Chelsea is a small club. A small team, not a small club, or small team.
But what's also crucial for this game for me is we finally need to see a Saka performance. We've been carrying Saka for the last few games. Now that always sort of gets smoothened out because he gets an assist, and we're like, yeah, he got an assist, right? But it's been a few games now where I'm looking at Saka and I'm thinking, damn, we need to get someone to compete with this guy because he's playing so poor, but yet he's still on the field, right? So and I wanted him to look at this game and go, everyone's been saying, oh, is Foden world class? Am I world class? Who's better, Saka or Foden? I want Saka to approach that game and say, let's just end the argument.
Yeah, very true.
I'm the better player. I've come to your ground and I've dominated. We haven't seen enough games like that from Saka this year, right? And that's when we talk about just the efficiency without being spectacular. That's what Saka's been all season. He just being efficient. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I want him to go out there and people to go, yeah, there's no doubt he's better than Foden. That's what we need from Saka in this game. Because let's be honest, Martinelli, Saka, they've been pretty average this season. Do you understand what I mean? So I need a big game from Saka, especially if he's meant to be our world-class player.
Yeah.
These are the games where you need to step up and get your team all 3 points.
Yeah, I've always liked this season, yes. I think the reason is for the past, let's say, apart from the game against Porto and let's say Brentford, that since the turn of the new year, that's the only time like we've seen Saka play, continuously well for the, how many games. When I was looking at some game at the beginning of the season, we knew he wasn't like playing, like he wasn't, last season, he wasn't, last season he had some space, he had time, he had everything. So he was, that guy. But I do feel one of the reasons is we could say, even with someone like Erling Haaland, it's not, it's not easier this season. So the goals, I won't say the goals dried up. We could still say he missed 2 months of football, but we could still look at him and think, okay, fine, this guy has had a tough. They've been tougher on him in the league. They've been focused on him. We can look at Saka and Martinelli and think, okay, Saka and Martinelli, they know that these are our main guys. That's why then I always had a problem with Declan Rice, because I felt there were moments where maybe Saka was in space for him to receive a pass, but Declan Rice, as you said, he doesn't have that ability to pick, that eye of the needle pass. So that may have hindered, Martinelli and Saka a little bit, and playing with Kai Havertz as opposed to playing with Xhaka last season. So yes, because Kai was a different profile of a player that Xhaka was. So I think this season right now, in that particular game, I am getting excited because I'm hoping Saka is taking the game to these guys. You understand? Because he needs to, and we need it, because I'm looking at the game and I'm seeing that we will have chances. There will be space, and if he gets those spaces, he needs to take his chances. And I think another thing Saka has to do, which is maybe he's a little one-footed, just maybe. That's what I feel.
The thing about Saka, right, is Saka is a prime example of a British academy player.
Yeah.
Well drilled. He does all of the basics very well, right? Yeah. But the problem is, like you said, teams this season are paying him a lot more due respect. So they're doubling up on him, right?
Mm.
He needs to find another level in his game to be able to create space for himself, right? Because Saka looks so predictable. It's almost he's three moves of this, right? It's I'm going to pull all the way out to the right to drag the left back towards me, and then I'm going to dart in behind him because I know Odegaard's going to find him, right?
Yeah.
His second move is he comes in to allow Ben White to go down on the overlap. He drops short because he wants to cut in on his left foot. Yeah. Or he's one-on-one. I'm going to run at you. I'm going to stop. And I'm going to knock it back to the
right foot. Then
but
cross
it's so predictable, right? And for me, he needs to find that extra level. And I know, like, even a few of my nephews playing in academies now in the UK, they drill that creativity out of you.
Of course.
One touch pass, simple. That's what they drill. And Saka's a product of that. You can see it. Because when you look at, the likes of Balassi, Wilfried Zaha, you could tell these guys, they played in the streets, in the cage.
Of course.
50 people on the pitch, and they're trying to dribble for everyone. Then you look at Saka, and he's like a prime example of a British Academy winger. Very technical, very efficient, and his numbers still show it. Because it's not been his best season, but his goals and assists look like he's been playing amazing. That's just efficiency and training. So like you said, I need a big game from Saka. I need him to shut down that Foden argument. I need him to go to the Etihad, dominate that game, get his goal, get his assist, and then we can put that Saka Foden argument to bed once and for all. That's what he needs to do.
Okay, let me answer this. Let me answer this question. Go with the flow.
That's why I was laughing since. let me defend you in this one. So go with the flow. Go with the flow. Go back.
Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing that you continue. You've been watching for a long time, and we've been friends for a long time. Show me one video. Go to the library and show me one video. I've said Saka is a world-class player. How many times have I told Mr. Fusa that he's not world-class to me? Yeah. He's a top player. He's not world-class. And for me, world-class is you can go to any team and start. You are consistent in your performance and your numbers. That's why I don't believe in statistics solely. You have to have a melange of statistics and eye tests to great players.
Yeah.
Like, why you saying Anna Fusa will never sit about Saka? I always call Saka out. There is a video on my library where I call Saka out.
He made a full video on Saka not being one. I think go back.
Yeah.
That should be last year. Immediately we finished playing Fulham. I remember in that particular game because I was fed up with Saka in that game. He just Jay said, he just kept going, like keeping the width, and doing the same thing over, expecting a different result. So for me, the thing is, I feel what maybe has helped Saka better during the turn of the year is, like I said, I believe Arteta watches Solly's videos first. Secondly, I also believe Saka needs to roll more. I think that is one thing because look at Kai, right? That's one advantage he has. You just don't know where he's going to pop up. So the ball might come anywhere and you just see him there. So you can see him across the front line, up top, dropping to midfield to play, then going again. So I feel, yes, Saka, as you said, the typical English winger. But when he moves around, like look at the game against Newcastle, that particular goal he scored against Livramento, that is what I expect more of Saka from. Like faking them, not just you go, you stop, you want to go again, and that's predictable. But that kind of moments where they've stopped you, you move into the striker's position where okay, fine, these people won't see me. Then you give and go. Then try and use your right foot more. Then I expect to see more because we are not seeing. I do know there's more. Like I believe there's more. I believe Solly even said he didn't see anything. But if Saka could be doing like moving around, he believes that's another way because not every winger is a Robben type of winger.
Like, go with the flow. Let me remind you and refresh you. Sorry for cutting you short. So let me remind you, go with the flow. I always say that English players are overrated. They have English stacks on them. Right, unfortunately, we have Saka in our ranks, and it's overrated. I've been saying it. I love Saka, but he's not elite. But it is what it is. I have to support my player. He's not elite, but like I said, if you know your shortcomings, you walk around it. For me, Saka should be going between the lines sometimes. Sometimes use Ben White.
Yes.
Sometimes use Ben White to draw the defenders and come in and do. He's not a Robben that you know what's going to do, was going to do it.
Yes,
Saka is not a Messi. He's going to do it.
I think you end up getting a bare Saka if we change the profile for our right back. Now, not to say I'm saying, get rid of Ben White. I'm saying you need options. You need different stuff on your bench for certain games, right? Just like we said, Jorginho's for certain games, Partey's for certain games. I think Ben White's been immense since they've come back from Dubai. He started the season poor. He's picked up since the Dubai trip. Definitely been the best right back since then in the league for me. But I just feel like if we had that right back who thrives on attacking their opposing left back on the opposite team, I think that instantly starts to open up more space for you, right? Now, Ben White does overlap, but he does it in a very cultured way, almost Gary Neville, David Beckham-esque. It's very straight lines. I'm going to run past you. I'm going to drag the left back with me so you could deliver that cross, right? That's Ben White. I think once we get Timber back in that team, because I don't think Ben White would have been starting this season.
Yeah, if Timber was available.
I think just a little snapshot what I saw of Timber during preseason lets me know, okay, we've almost got that Kyle Walker type player who could defend, is aggressive, is quick, could attack. So I'm interested to see if Timber comes in at left or right back, and I think you will see whichever side he comes in at, that winger is going to improve. But me personally, I don't think you're going to see that sort of trajectory on Saka. I think he's going to just stay efficient. And
I've been saying it. I've been saying for a long time.
And I think sometimes, but efficiency can get you to world-class level if you're doing it on a big stage, right?
Sure.
Because let's say, for example, at the same time, you had Henry and you had Van Nistelrooy in the same league at the same time, getting 20-plus goals every single season. But everyone immediately would say, no, Henry. Why? Because he's more desirable on the eye. He does more.
Right. Yeah.
But Van Nistelrooy, remember, he scored only one goal out of the box
Sure.
for Man United. So that's the efficiency. But I would put him down as a world-class striker, right? So for me, if Saka, for example, still does his basic, hugging the touchline, very efficient, but he sets up a goal and scores on Sunday, and we go on and win the league, and he turns up in the Champions League against Bayern Munich, doing the exact same thing, that keeps on edging him more towards the world class without being overly desirable.
Okay, let me ask you a hypothetical question real quick. You and if I can answer this question. If we hypothetically brought in a Neto, who will start, Neto or Saka?
I think Saka will definitely still start.
I think Neto will start.
And the reason why I think that Saka will start, because I think again he will probably change the profile of how Neto plays.
I think Neto is more corny and tricky and street smart, and is more explosive. Saka lacks that explosivity of quick boss in the box.
Listen,
right? He doesn't have it.
Unpopular
Like Neto.
Opinion, but I think Elise is better than Saka.
I have not seen enough to.
I generally think that. I think the age that Elise is at, right? 2021 as well. When we're talking about trickery, when we're talking about delivery, when we're talking about directness, right?
Yeah.
The part what Saka beats him on is that efficiency. Saka is like that German car, just ain't gonna let you down and just built well, right? Whereas Elise.
Okay. So you're rating Elise over Neto?
I would take Elise instead of Neto, yes.
Mr. What do you think?
Yeah, my view on Neto. Neto is like what do they call it? I love Neto, but my problem is if Neto comes
let's say hypothetical. Let's take away the injuries.
Okay.
Pure ability.
Pure ability. Of course, you look at what do they call it? Neto. I believe Neto will be shuffling both wings. That's what
I think Neto is better than Saka. I watched them like this guy.
No, that's why I think Neto through the eye test is better than Saka. But when you ask the question, do I think he would start instead of Saka? No, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I think Arteta will get both of them in that team. I don't think he'll be.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. What can Neto do that Saka can do, and what can Saka do that Neto can do?
Saka has got the efficiency. Saka's got the efficiency over Neto. Neto is one of those players where if he's on point, he's gonna just absolutely destroy his left back.
Yeah.
Right? But he doesn't have that game as much. Saka, as we've seen this season, is not been the Saka of last year. But you look at the numbers and it tells you a different story. I think with Neto, he has to be playing well. Saka doesn't need to be playing well, but somehow he pops up with an assist. He pops up with a goal. He does something. There's the amount of games I'm thinking, get this guy off the pitch. Then all of a sudden, cuts back, cross with the right foot, someone taps in. Saka's the hero, another assist, and we move on, right? Neto doesn't have enough of those moments, right?
Because he's injured.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, for me, like you was talking about that rat shit at the beginning when we was talking. Neto's like, for me, that Instagram girl, she's got all of the body, she looks good, all of that stuff, but it's not going to be the one you take home because
nah, that's for fun. That's for fun.
And that's the difference between them. So it's like, what do you prefer? Do you want the exciting, spontaneous, dynamic winger who may go disappearing for 2, 3, 4 games? Or do you want that winger who's a little bit frustrating but pops up with a goal and assist?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
But to me, you take both and you put Martinelli on the bench.
I'll play Martinelli. I think if I'm not playing, for me, this is an unpopular opinion. I've always said, right? I prefer Martinelli as a striker. Because
Yes.
whenever I hear these links of Osimhen, look, let's be realistic. There is nothing Osimhen will do that Martinelli will do. You understand? Let's be pace. Martinelli has it. Martinelli is way better on the ball. He can finish. So I think it's maybe
one thing though. Osimhen's got better movement than Martinelli, though.
Yeah, but the reason why I say the movement, I still believe Martinelli has it. I could say has it as good, and Martinelli could have had it more as a striker, was because, originally when he came to Arsenal, we could see if this guy was going to be a striker. He was going to.
And he was playing well.
Yeah. But, Arteta moving him to the wings, and last season we actually saw some of his, we saw something there.
So don't you not think that's the biggest problem? That is it the fact that maybe we've got a manager who just doesn't like out and out strikers? Because when you look at it, right, he's come in, Aubameyang won us the FA Cup, he moved him on, maybe he had to stamp his mark, break up the sort of gang culture inside of the change room, fine. But then you have Lacazette left over. Lacazette was player of the season 2 years, scoring goals. He turns Lacazette into a holding midfielder. He ends up losing.
Jay's not being fair. Jay is not being fair. Lacazette turns bland.
Because
do you think if Lacazette was in this team now, he would because we've seen, I personally believe if he was in this team, Lacazette would be scoring goal.
I don't think so, because then I think when you look here, right? So we've gone Aubameyang, we've gone Lacazette, right?
Yeah.
I looked at Gabriel Jesus, and I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans looked at and go, you know what? This guy tends to get anything between 11 to 15 goals for Man City. And sometimes he's on a wing, sometimes he's on the bench. If we bring him, give him the number 9, make him feel like the main man, you're our goal scorer, we could get 20 goals from Gabriel Jesus. I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans looked at that and thought maybe he's going to be our 20-plus goal season striker, right?
Yeah.
He quickly morphed into a younger Lacazette. Work rate. Where's the goals?
No,
right?
I think last season, right? If I'm saying Lacazette, I could easily have said, I believe Jesus could have gotten 17 Premier League goals last season, because he got injured for about 4 months, and at the end of the day, he was still able to get 11 as a whole. Now, one thing that
look how much big chances he missed last year as well.
Yeah. So is that Tata's fault? Okay, is that Tata's fault?
No, 100%. It's not Arteta's fault, but I'm trying to say that the amount of times, right? You got to remember, it goes like this, right? You've got to be there to score goals, right? You just got to be there. People always go, oh, how comes the ball just always used to end at Ian Wright's feet, Jermaine Defoe's feet? That's by design. That's not luck. It's having the ability, 1, to always want to be in the box, 2, to be sniffing out chances, right? Gabriel Jesus, and even said himself, it's like, hey, the scoring element is not my strongest point, right? I think Gabriel Jesus is not wired to be the main man. He doesn't want to have that pressure on him, in my opinion, right? And it's okay, because as you've seen, we haven't had an out-and-out striker. Should have won a year last year. We're top of the league this year without an out-and-out striker. So I think it's almost been a godsend that he got injured again, and then he had to move Havertz into that position, because I don't think he would have done it. And we've become bare for it, right? Because he understands, and he's saying to Havertz, look, I know that's not your game. He's got that sort of languid type of approach, right? Doesn't look like he's really sprinting, but like you said, his movement and his IQ, he's trying to read the game instead of closing down, right? Which means we now have a focal point.
point.
Right? Which then means Declan Rice could push forward up. Odegaard could push further forward as well, right? So when I look at it, I'm thinking, I think our striker thing, even with Martinelli, there's games you're looking at and think, play him, give him a chance. But I generally don't think Arteta wants a striker playing on the last defender's shoulder, running in behind. I don't think he wants that style of player.
Maybe it doesn't fit the system he wants to play.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So when we're seeing all of these rumors with Osimhen, and I made a video, I think it was last week. I said, don't be surprised if we don't get any striker what we've been linked
Me
to.
too. Yeah,
I could see that, because if Kai is going to be scoring the way he is, you never really know. He could turn Kai to that false nine who could give you 20 goals in a season. And we're seeing now that with the way we're playing, and let's assume the rumors of players we hear we want to go for. We hear players like, I think, Zubimendi. We're hearing players. I don't know. I saw something about, is it Joao Neves of Benfica, that kid. Looking at everybody, the squad we're about to have, he could easily tell Kai, and because he could tell Jesus, play up. You're going to be coming from the bench, or you could play on the wings in some games. And we can't forget this kid, this Mika Bireth, that's at Stormgrass right now. I believe if Nketiah goes, Nketiah is going to. Bro,
Jay's looking at you like he has to leave.
Bro,
he has to go.
Do you remember the game against Newcastle? See, there were moments whenever I see Nketiah starting, I feel that's one of the reasons we've not run away with the league. Because Nketiah
exactly, he's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. I'm sorry, he's not.
You understand? Yeah, I just believe that's the problem. Because if I'm looking at Nketiah, we can't hold the ball with you. Every time you get the ball, you can't hold the ball. You can't beat a man. You're not making runs in behind. It's frustrating because I always feel as if we're playing with 10 men when we're playing with Nketiah. That's what I feel. Look at the game against Tottenham. We should have beaten Tottenham.
100%.
So I'm looking at that kid at Stormgrass. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking,
you want Arsenal fans to bite you. Arsenal fans will bite you. They don't want they don't want a youngster. They want a superstar mega signing, a headliner.
Yeah, but that's the problem. What do we need? Like Jay said, efficiency. Look, if I'm going to win 5 Premier Leagues, right, without a headliner, and I'm winning those 5 Premier Leagues, you understand, that is 5 Premier Leagues in, let's say, 6 years, without a headliner striker, I know that we've won it with Kai as our striker, Martinelli and Saka, or Jesus, or Martinelli and Jesus, any of them. I would take that because it guarantees me. What are we looking for? We're looking for wins. You understand? If I get 5 Premier League titles right now, nobody's coming to take away the trophy from me because we didn't have a headliner striker. So people want something. We all want that new toy so that we can brag. I have this. What do we want? That's why in January, everybody was like, oh, we'll get a striker. We are struggling from the FFP. You want us to go and buy Ivan Toney for how many million? Ivan Toney is 28. You understand? I don't see what Ivan Toney really does.
I don't see him. I don't rate him. I don't like him. I don't rate him. Yeah. I'd rather buy a donkey than buy Ivan Toney.
You're playing for Brentford. It's easy as a slot striker to get those numbers. You understand? So the only rumor as a striker I think with Arteta might get is that guy from Sporting, because I just think he might look at him with the Hurricane mode and look and say, okay, fine. Let me see if I can tweak this guy to be able, because he still has 14 assists this season. So it means he can play with the team no matter how bad he is. Osimhen, I don't think he plays a lot with the team, and his ability on the ball is atrocious. That's one problem I have.
He's a donkey on Timberland boots. So I don't rate him. So shout out to you guys for actually coming to this stream. It's been an hour, almost 40 minutes. Shout out to Mr. J, first time on the channel. Shout out to you, very insightful. A Fosa friend of the house, always coming through. Mr. Go with the flow in the chat, being a nuisance. Don't worry, welcome to the MTR to MTU. Shout out to, let me see the rest of the guys. Not Foka, Haboli. Shout out to all of you for making Oxymoto. Shout out to all of you for making it a very, very interactive session. I really appreciate you guys for coming in. And go to J Ferguson TV right there. You can see the name. Go and subscribe to his channel. Enjoy his content. Strike a like on his content. Let us grow him. Let's grow together. Let's have conversations. See, it's not an echo chamber. You're allowed to disagree, provided you come with your logic and evidence and some statistics with your nuances. We can always have conversations. So nobody's lording any opinion on anybody here. So, Mr. Ferguson, your last words as we round off this live stream.
2-2.
There's 1-2-2, really? You're not confident? He's not confident. Is he traumatized? Mr. J, is he traumatized? Wow. Fosa, what do you think?
I believe Man City are getting slapped. I already know that they're getting slapped. Like I said, the amount of chances they'll concede, even if they want to park the bus that day, they can't. So they should forget about it. It's a game they've lost. Let them go home.
What's the score?
Put a scoreline to it.
3-1.
Yeah, I'm going for a 3-0 comprehensive victory. I believe my boys will go to the ETIHAD. Like I said, empty it. Because I go with the flow. You will be here on Friday for the preview. I will embarrass you physically, metaphorically, spiritually. You'll be here. And if Mr. J is available, I'll bring him. We'll be here to have that conversation. You've been so, all I call it, very viviparous in the comment section. You will come here and back up your commentary with some face and actions to it on Friday. We to do the preview. So, guys, shout out to you guys for being here. One more time, go to J Ferguson TV. Go and show him love. Subscribe to his channel. Like his videos. And make sure you show him some love. Arsenal Present. If you like the content and you've not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. If you enjoy the content, and if you don't like it, I can't please you. You know where to go. Go jump off the cliff. Yeah. So it's everybody don't like your opinion. I understand that. That's life. That's life. And some people are not reasonable to actually have a constructive debate. They are fixed on what they believe, and it is what it is. So guys, we'll be leaving for now. Hopefully we can bring Mr. J more often to the channel, have conversations. We'll be leaving it for now. See you on the next stream. And we will send our byes right now. Good night and God bless. Bye for now.